Hey everyone, today I'm going to teach you how to do a discovery call for life coaches. My name is Krista Kathleen, and I'm a life coach and business mentor, and I specialize in working with new life coaches who are ready to build online coaching businesses, find paying clients, and make money so they can get paid to do what they love. So first of all, what is a discovery call anyways? A discovery call is usually a short and quick call that you'll do with a potential client, also known as a sales call. So that way you can both decide if you're a good fit to work with each other moving forward based on the needs, the desires, and goals of your client. All right, you might hear all kinds of different names for this call, but I like to keep it simple and call it a discovery call because, right, you're really trying to discover, like I said, if we're a good fit to work for each other. And remember, it's just as much of a process, a discovery process for you as it is for the client as well. A lot of times we can get in the trap of like, oh, I hope this client wants to work with me. I hope they want to pay me. I hope they can afford me. And remember, like, this is about you too, coach. And, do you even want to work with this person? Are you going to enjoy showing up for this person over the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, however long your package is? So, don't forget about your needs as well. So next, I'm going to teach you this 6-step process that I've been using for years. So I've been an online life coach for the past 5 years. This is a process I've really refined from making a lot of mistakes and also working with my own business coaches and mentors and, kind of like picking and choosing what I've seen them use that I liked and just like I said, making it my own process. So I'm going to teach you my 6-step process on how to lead a discovery call. Also, I created a worksheet for all of you. It's down below in the description section. If you click on that link, and you can download a free worksheet that is going to lay out all these different steps that we're gonna go over today. But you're welcome to take lots of notes, but also know that there will be a worksheet available for you as well with everything I'm gonna be sharing. Okay, so step 1 is getting in the right mindset before the call or creating a pre-ritual. So I would recommend taking anywhere from maybe like 10 to 30 minutes and choosing an activity that's going to shift you into a high vibrational positive state that's going to get you pumped and excited to be on the call, to see what's possible. And a lot of times what ends up happening is before we get on a sales call, we get really in our head and stuck in our fears and scarcity and limiting beliefs. And I always like to say, stay out of other people's bank accounts. A lot of times we're like, oh my gosh, are they going to be able to afford me? Are they going to say yes? And then we worry about, am I going to ask the right questions? How am I going to sound on the call? Are they going to think I'm professional? And you really are taking the attention away from the potential client, and you're so focused on you, and it's really hard to show up and serve from that place. Right. So, there's different things that you can do. You can do yoga, you can meditate, you can watch inspiring YouTube videos, listening to, podcasts. I have a video here that I created last week, tapping for wealth for life coaches. That's a really good, quick tapping practice you can do to get you a quick mindset shift and get you into abundant state. For myself, to get ready for discovery calls, I like to put on like a power outfit and do my hair and my makeup so I feel like a CEO and a boss, right? So just kind of think of what your pre-ritual you want before your call, so that way you can show up and also come from this place of, this is what you would do on a normal life coaching call too, is coming from this place of being curious and open-minded, so staying unattached to the outcomes. You don't know what's going to happen on that call. You don't know how you're going to feel by the end of the call or how the potential client's going to feel. So you're just showing up to connect and serve. And when you come from that place, and staying open and trusting that everything will happen for the higher good, it's a really great place to be in. And it makes a world of difference when you lead your discovery calls, because you're not having that agenda of like, I have to find this client and I have to make the sale and they have to say yes by the end of the discovery call. And that's when things start to get really like icky, and use car salesmen, and you're using these pressure tactics, and nobody likes that. You're not going to feel good doing that. Potential client doesn't like feeling good being on the receiving end of that. So really practice staying open, staying curious. You want to connect and serve, and being pleasantly surprised at whatever ends up happening by the end of the call. Also, I wanted to add to that, even if you're not taking on paying clients yet, it's still important to do a discovery call, because I always recommend selling packages for 3 months or longer. And it's really not fun. Even if you're not charging for your services, it is not fun to meet with someone every week for 60 minutes if you don't enjoy working with them and if they don't know what they want to achieve through your work together. So even if this is going to be for a pro bono client, still want you to practice treating this like this would be a paid client, and to still do a discovery call. Okay, step 2 is we are going to open up as a leader and create trust on the call. This is really important to do because adults like to know what to expect, and this really creates trust, and it helps you show up as like the authority and the expert here. And remember, this is not like a friendly little catch up, or we're just going to joke around, or I'm going to give you a free coaching session. Like, you're going to really set the tone here and say, all right, this is how I usually run these calls. So actually, I'll give you an exact statement of what I would use. And I got this from my business coach, Lacey Seitz, who taught me how to do this. But so something that I would say at the beginning of my discovery calls is, hey, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I'm so glad that you found me online through my YouTube videos, and I really appreciate you taking the time to fill out your questionnaire form before this. How these calls usually go is I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions and taking a lot of notes, and really I want to understand what your goals are around creating a life coaching business, and what are the true obstacles getting in the way of you moving forward with your goals. And by the end of the call, if we both feel like it's a good fit, I'm going to invite you to work with me. I'm going to tell you all about how my life coaching package works, and then we can figure out next steps from there. How does that sound for you? Right? So, you don't have to use that word for word, and obviously you might not be helping people build life coaching businesses, so you would just insert whatever it is that you specialize in helping people with. But right, like, again, it's this really like welcoming energy, and this is how I run these calls, letting them know what to expect, and then telling them at the end that you are going to be inviting them to work with you if you feel like it's a good fit, and this is what it looks like. This is what it's going to look like for us to work together. How's that sound for you? And this lets the potential client feel in control and really trusting you as their guide, because that's the number one ingredient in sales is trust. And then also, this is huge in a client coach relationship as well, as you want to have that trust, and you want to start to build that right from the start. Okay, step 3 on a discovery call is you want to interview the client here. So like we said earlier, you're going to be taking notes of the things that they say. You're going to be asking them questions. You're going to be doing active listening. You're going to be doing paraphrasing. So actually all skills that you would use on a typical life coaching session too. And remember not to really do too much coaching here. This isn't what this is about. It's not a free coaching session. Like, you really just want to truly understand what their number one goal is, or a few of their top goals are that they want to work on with you. And what's the number one thing standing in the way of them accomplishing those goals, and just getting as much information as you can. And then also to like confirming that they're in the right place too. So like what that can sound like is, and I have in my Build Your Life Coaching Business 7 Days course, I actually have some sample discovery calls that you can watch as well. So I highly recommend purchasing that course. I really break down this process more. I give you the exact questions to ask on a discovery call. And like I said, you can actually see me in action with leading a discovery call with a potential client. But, for today, just to kind of give you an example, like, so I would say to open up, so tell me why you booked this call today. And then they usually go into like a long-winded answer of like how they decided to become a life coach, why they want to become a life coach, like what kind of fears are blocking them and what their goals are. And I'm taking notes and I'm like nodding and repeating back what they're saying to make sure I understand. Because the potential client really wants to know that you are hearing them and understanding them to really make sure it is going to be a good fit, because the client doesn't want to work with a coach that's like, I have no idea what you're saying or how to help you, right? That's not a good feeling. Like confirming they're in the right place. So if someone to me says like, I'm really looking for help around how to sell my signature coaching package. And I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. That's great. That's actually something that I help my clients with all the time, is putting the details together around their signature coaching package and then helping them to sell that coaching package in a way that works for them, right? Like I'm confirming to them, yes, this is actually something that I do help my clients with. And then they're like, oh, cool. Like they can relax and they're like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. All right. So if you can confirm that as much as possible, that's really great for the client. And the reason you don't really want to do a lot of coaching here too is you don't have a whole lot of time to work together. I do 30-minute discovery calls. Some coaches will do 60 minutes. I started out 60 minutes when I was new, but I've done it down now. I can get everything accomplished in 30 minutes. Some coaches will do 15, 20, 10 minutes. I've seen them all over the board. So it's what is ever up to you, what feels best. And we don't really have a whole lot of time to dive deep into topics, and I don't want to leave open gaping wounds by the end of the call. So that's why I said I'm not really doing coaching on this call, as I'm really just more interviewing the client and making sure that I'm enjoying their energy and that what they're asking for help with, like, yes, I am the perfect coach and I have the perfect program that is going to help you with what you need. All right, step 4 is you're going to invite the potential client to work with you if it feels like a good fit. So you get to the end of the call and you've determined that your energies work well together, and like I said, your program is a good fit based off what they're presenting with. So that's where you would ask for their permission to move forward into talking about your coaching program. So, what that can sound like is, hey, Name, based off everything that you've been saying today, it sounds like we'd be a great fit to work together. And I have this amazing 6-month coaching program that would be perfect to help you achieve X, Y, and Z. Would you be interested in hearing about those details right now? And right, that lets the potential client stay in control, and they're going to be giving you the yes to move forward with that. And then this is where you'll talk about your coaching program. Don't go crazy with the feature details. Like that stuff's really boring. I'll say like my typical coaching package, 6 months, we do weekly 90-minute sessions. We take the 3 times a month. We take the last week off. You also get support coaching in between on the Boxer app to help with accountability and motivation. You also get a free copy of my book as well. So you don't have to go super in detail about all that feature stuff. Like people do want to know those details, but they're more focused on the results and what they're going to walk away with and what's possible. So don't go into this long-winded answer about how every single life coaching session works and what you're going to do exactly on each call, because the potential client it's going to be way too overwhelming for them. And remember too, don't say yes just because you need the money or because you really want a paying client. Trust me, I've made this mistake lots of times over the years where I was just so excited and I was like, I'm going to say yes no matter what. And in my soul, I was like, something feels off, something feels wrong here. And I still said yes anyway. And guess what? Those are the clients I had the most issues with. So really practice listening to your intuition early on. And if inside it says something's off here, this is not a good fit, just be honest about that. And you're doing yourself and the client a favor. I would feel terrible if a coach offered me an invitation to work with them and they didn't like me, but they just wanted my money. Like that feels absolutely awful. So, you know, I know it's hard. I know you want the practice. I know you want the money, but you really want to make sure this is a good fit. So that way the client gets the best results and then you enjoy working with them too. All right, so step 5 is going to be addressing objections. So after you get all done talking about your program, and then either you're going to say what the price is or they're going to ask what the price is. And usually, so I always like to put my prices on my website. I don't like to create sticker shock for people. And on my intro questionnaire form, which you can totally get access to, by the way, in my Build Your Life Coaching Business 7 Days course. But I do have a thing that says, you know, go to my website and check out my prices just to make sure you're okay with these before we get on the call. So that way, when we have the money conversation, I don't have to deal with a lot of objections because they had the time to sit with the prices. I found this works really well. There might be a lot of other coaches out there who say not to do this, but I like to have that transparency and trust. And I personally don't like to get on sales calls where I don't know what the price is to work with a coach. It's just, there's something about it that feels icky and not good for me. You're going to say the price, and how I usually do that is I give them 2 options. I say you can pay in full and you're going to save a little bit of money, or you can do the 6-month payment plan. I usually do like the length of the program. So if I have a 6-month program, I would do 6 monthly payments, or if I 3-month program, 3 monthly payments. Right. So, but just 2 options, pay in full or 6 monthly payments, which payment plan works better for you. Right. And then they can choose from there. And then this, like I said, might be the place where some objections come up. Usually most people want to run the other way when they hear money objections or any type of objections. It really is better for the objections to come up while you're on the call together versus after you get off the call. So practice being with objections, making space for them. And I just look at them merely as like stories and limiting beliefs, which is something that we specialize in helping our clients with anyway. So this is actually where you can show up a little bit more as a coach here for someone and help them to get a really powerful breakthrough and help them to see what's possible for them. So what I would recommend is first preparing for some possible objections to come up. So the most common ones are, I don't have enough time to do this. I have to ask my partner first before I can do this, or my husband or my wife, and I don't have enough money for this. So kind of start to think like, what would your responses be to those? Because it's just a matter of time before they come up. And then also too, is my little like magic formula for dealing with objections is always like, don't go in and try to convince the person to think differently or they shouldn't be thinking the way they are. Like really acknowledge first. So if someone says like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a money, I don't have that much money, I pause for a moment, I take a breath, I'm like, okay, because right, like it can really kick up the fight or fight response and we go into a lot of fear. And then I'll acknowledge them and say, absolutely, I hear and understand what you're saying. It's a big deal. It's a big decision to work with your first life coach. And you're right, it absolutely is an investment. Right. So that just really helps them to feel seen and heard and acknowledged. And you're not going to use these awful pressure tactics to try to get them to think differently. So then after I acknowledge them, I'll actually ask for permission to do a little bit of coaching around it if that's what my like gut and intuition is saying. If someone is just like really hardcore, like stuck in their objections and they're like, I'm not willing to find a way to make this work, they're not coachable. They're not a good client for me. I'm not going to try to help them to have a mindset shift or breakthrough around this. But like if my intuition is saying like, yeah, let's try to, work with the person here. And I'll ask for permission. I'll say, I'm happy to do a little bit of coaching around this to, help this become more possible for you. Are you open to that right now? Right. And if they say yes, then you have permission to go ahead and do a little coaching and exploring and find out what is really the thing under the thing. This is what Lacey Seitz taught me is, what's the thing under the thing? Because most of the time it's not about the money. It's not about asking their partner for permission. It's not about the time, right? It's going to be some other fears of like, do they trust themselves to get results? Or maybe they got burned in the past by a previous coach or previous program. So if you really take the time to hold some space for them here, hear them out, and if you can help them to move past this, then this could very well turn into, a client for you. So you're just going to have to, it's going to be really uncomfortable at first. I know it was for me, but with time, you'll get better at being comfortable with these objections, and you'll know exactly how to handle them and deal with them and to go from there. So I promise you it will get easier with time and practice, but you are going to have to practice and just let it be messy at first, make lots of mistakes, because that's what you have to do as a beginner in order to learn. And then my last thing with objections is to make sure that you're not over empathizing. So a lot of you, like me, are going to be empaths, which is an amazing skill. Like, right, you're really sensitive to other people's like feelings and emotions, and empaths make the best saleswomen and salesmen at the end of the day. But there's also a thing called over empathizing, and it's where you get so sucked into someone's story that they are pulling you down with them. If you can imagine, it's like someone's like struggling, like they're drowning in the water, and you want to save them, and they're just pulling you under, and now you're both drowning, right? No, you want to be the person that like can pull them out and get them to land, get them to safety. So it's the same thing with these objections. Don't feel sorry for the person. Don't feel bad. Don't feel guilty. That's just you joining in on their stories with them. So have that empathy, have that compassion. That's where, we acknowledge and listen and everything like we talked about. And then, right, this is why you do the pre-ritual, the mindset work before the call. So that way you can stand firm for what they want, what they desire to have. And, can you really be with their fears? Can you be with their objections? This is what's going to make you a really amazing coach. And so don't get pulled down into their stories, and really help them to remember why they came onto the call and what can become possible when you two work together. All right, step number 6 is you're going to celebrate. So you're going to celebrate no matter what happens. And, 3 different things are going to happen here. Either they are going to be a yes, they're going to be a maybe, or they're going to be a no. And I can tell you what to do for each of these things. So if they're a yes, you're like, yay, okay, great. This is what we do next to get started. And what my onboarding process looks like is I send them an online contract. And then after they do that, I send them a PayPal link based off if they're choosing Pay in Full or their subscription service. And then I send them a welcome packet. And all this stuff is available in my course, Build Your Life Coaching Business in 7 Days, right? So yay, you just hired a new client. If they are a maybe, I will schedule a follow-up call with them 2 days later. And I do it with them right there on the phone. And I put it in the calendar, and I send them a calendar invite. And then I also just think about, I give them like a little task, and I say, okay, over the next 2 days, think about what can really make this a full body yes for you, right? Kind of like give them a little assignment to work on. And I also say too, write down everything that comes up for you in terms of fears, worries, anxieties, anything. And we can go through that all on the call together, and, help you to make an empowered decision for you. And then if they are a no, then, I say, okay, thank you so much for getting on the call. And then, offer for a way to keep in touch with them. So maybe, subscribe to my YouTube channel, or here's my freebie opt-in, or I have a Facebook group, or, something like that, so they don't leave empty-handed. And then you can also recommend them to another coach as well. I've done that a lot of times for someone, either, we just weren't a good fit, or maybe they're looking for like a real estate coach or something like that. I don't know why they'd be called to build their life coaching business if they're looking for a real estate coach, but so that's why it's good to be in a network of other coaches and providers. Or maybe someone's actually a better fit to work with a therapist. Maybe they realize they have a lot of past trauma they need to work through first, and So be prepared too to say like, hey, I'd love to connect you to so-and-so. I think that maybe they might be a better fit for you based off what was coming up today. Would you be open to me doing that? And then they're gonna be so grateful and so thankful for you doing that. Let's just quickly review what the 6 steps were. So step 1 is, doing that mindset work, creating a pre-ritual ceremony. Step 2 is opening up as a leader and creating trust. Step 3 is interviewing the potential client. Step 4 is inviting the potential client to work with you if it feels like a good fit. Step 5 is going to be addressing objections if any come up during this time. And step 6 is going to be celebrating no matter what, if they're a yes, maybe, or a no. All right, I hope that this was helpful for all of you. Let me know in the comments section below what was most useful for you that you're gonna use on your next discovery call after today. And then also don't forget to check out my course, Build Your Life Coaching Business in 7 Days, where you can get all of the things I talked about in today's video. So you can give intro questionnaire example, you can see sample discovery calls, questions to ask on your discovery calls, everything to onboard your new clients. So you'll get everything you need through that course. And then also you get the free worksheet below too that I created for you of the outline that we talked about today. So you're awesome. You're going to do amazing. I'm so pumped and excited for you for your next discovery call. So that way you can start working with all these amazing clients who are ready to hire you as their life coach. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.